Ever heard a story so fucked up you couldn't sleep for days? Well, buckle up because tonight you're about to hear 22 of them. These aren't just your run-of-the-mill ghost stories. These are the kind that make you question every shadow, every creak in your house, and maybe even your own sanity. Let's dive in. Story 1. The Roommate. Sophia thought her new college roommate, Emily, was just shy. Emily barely spoke, kept to herself, and always stared at the ceiling when she was in bed. One night, Sophia came back late from a party and saw Emily sitting cross-legged on her bed, smiling. Sophia laughed nervously and asked, "What's up?" Emily just whispered, "She's here." Sophia froze. "Who?" she asked. "The lady in the closet," Emily said, pointing without looking. Sophia opened the closet door. Nothing was there, but when she turned around, Emily was lying in bed as if nothing happened. Sophia moved out the next day. Years later, she found out Emily had been institutionalized for talking to the lady, who told her to do unspeakable things. Story 2. The Phone Call. Mike was working late at the office when his phone buzzed. It was a text from his wife. "Don't stay out too late." He smiled and replied, "Won't. Love you." A few seconds later, another text came through. "Who are you texting?" Confused, he called her. She picked up on the first ring and whispered, "Mike, there's someone in the house." He heard a crash on her end of the line, then silence. When he got home, the house was empty, and his wife was never seen again. Story 3. The hitchhiker driving home late one night, Kara saw a young woman standing by the side of the road, drenched from the rain. Feeling sorry for her, Kara stopped and offered her a ride. The woman climbed in without saying a word, just nodded in thanks. Kara tried to make conversation, but the woman stayed silent, staring ahead. When Kara finally pulled up to the address the woman had given her, she turned to say goodbye. But the passenger seat was empty. Freaked out, Kara knocked on the door of the house and an elderly woman answered. "That's my daughter's address," she said. "She died in a car crash on this road 10 years ago." Story 4. The Whisper. Liam loved hiking alone. One crisp autumn morning, he was deep in the woods when he heard a voice whisper his name. It wasn't loud, but it was unmistakable. "Liam!" He spun around, but no one was there. A few steps later, the whisper came again. Closer this time. "Liam." By now, he was spooked. He decided to head back, but the whispers followed him all the way to his car. When he slammed the door shut and looked in the rearview mirror, he saw a pale face grinning at him from the back seat. Story 5. The Babysitter's Nightmare. Rachel was babysitting for the Johnsons, who lived in an old Victorian house. After putting the kids to bed, she settled on the couch to watch TV. Around 10 p.m., she heard faint giggling from upstairs. "Kids," she called, "you're supposed to be asleep." The giggling stopped, but a moment later, she heard footsteps running down the hallway. Annoyed, she went upstairs to find the kids fast asleep in their beds. She turned to leave, and that's when she saw a small, shadowy figure dart across the hallway. She noped out of there and never babysat again. Story 6. The Locked Door. Nate rented a cheap apartment in an old building downtown. The landlord told him not to worry about the locked door in the hallway. It led to an unused storage room. But at night, Nate would hear scratching sounds coming from behind it. One evening, curiosity got the better of him, and he picked the lock. Inside, he found a tiny, windowless room with walls covered in strange symbols. In the center was a chair, and on it sat a dusty old doll. Nate slammed the door shut and moved out the next day. The landlord didn't even seem surprised. Story 7. The Camper. Jake loved solo camping trips. On his last one, he woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of someone walking around his tent. Thinking it was an animal, he unzipped the tent and shone his flashlight outside. Nothing was there. He zipped up the tent and tried to go back to sleep, but the footsteps started again, this time circling the tent. Then he heard a voice whisper, "Come out and play!" Jake grabbed his gear and ran like hell. He swears he saw a pair of glowing eyes watching him from the tree line as he drove away. So there you have it. 22 stories that'll have you questioning every little noise tonight. Maybe it's just the wind. Maybe it's not. Sweet dreams. If you can sleep at all. And remember, sometimes the scariest thing is what you can't see.